You're watching Fugitive Red Eye, and this video was recommended by Braden. This is a flashback episode about a channel called Qubo, which started back in 2006 and is still going to this day. It's not quite as old as some of the other things we do here on Flashbacks, but it did run some older programming, which made it somewhat memorable. It ran shows like Lessons from the Book of Virtue, which is a show I grew up watching as a kid, so that was or Adventures from the Book of Virtue, I mean. But that was a pretty decent thing, and, that was something interesting on it. They also had Sitting Ducks, and a bunch of other shows I hadn't heard of until I'd watched it, such as 321 Penguins, and hell, they had Babar, that's pretty old, and Rupert. I believe they showed Cubics at one point, but I'm not 100% sure. Snowman disagrees with me on that, so I don't know. But, as far as that goes, the channel itself was pretty good. Only reason I ever saw it was because back in 2009, when everything switched to digital television, it was a channel that one of my friends had because he didn't have cable, he just had digital television, as well as my grandma. So we watched it there, and at his house, so that, it's still somewhat nostalgic, even though it was only, like, 6 years ago that I actually started watching it. I don't watch it anymore because I don't really know anyone who actually still uses that standard digital TV, so it's kind of funny when you think about it that analog TV became obsolete and they switched to digital TV. I know that's irrelevant and probably for a different episode of Flashbacks, but just find that interesting. As far as that goes, Qubo itself was a pretty good channel, and it also had shows like Jane and the Dragon, which I'd never heard of until I'd seen it either, and it was decent. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, it was a very interesting thing. The main thing I watched on it was Sitting Ducks, which is a show that I watched actually back when they aired on Cartoon Network. They also ran some of the Busy World of Richard Scarry. They're still actually running that. They've been running it since 2013. They also do run a bunch of stuff I've never heard of, like Harry and his Bucket Full of Dinosaurs, Jacob Tutu, Jakers The Adventures of Piggly-Wink, all sorts of weird kid shows. Some pretty good, some kind of dumb. They run Todd World, apparently. That's an interesting show. I've actually seen part of it on a Thomas the Tank Engine DVD we had at one point. Interesting show, really bizarre. I'm pretty sure whoever made it was on LSD. Pretty fucking weird. But, yeah, I mean, Qubo's a really good channel, and, I mean, I don't watch it anymore, and I probably wouldn't like most of the shows they show on it nowadays, but some of the stuff was pretty good. How they showed Pippi Longstocking, and whatever the hell the Zula Patrol is. Ghostbusters at one point, even. I mean, how cool is that fucking Ghostbusters? That's a great show, so the fact that they ran Ghostbusters is good enough. The fucking 80s Ghostbusters cartoon. That's a good one. I don't believe it was the real Ghostbusters, though. Yeah, it wasn't. So, yeah, it's an unrelated Ghostbusters show, but still Ghostbusters nonetheless, the 86 version, so there you go, that's pretty flashbacky. So yeah, I guess that qualifies this for this episode. Oh, they also show I Spy, and VeggieTales. I mean, that show itself wasn't particularly good, although it is nostalgic to me in some ways, because my parents had me watch VeggieTales when I was younger, so it is something I am familiar with. But yeah, Qubo, decent enough channel. It was weird, because the way the digital TV works is it's like channel 16.2 or something like that, because they have weird channel systems on the digital TV box, but I guess that about wraps it up for this episode of Flashbacks. If you have any suggestions for future videos, or if you enjoyed it, go ahead and leave comments and likes, and if you'd care to, subscribe. I mean, again, I'm not going to force you, and obviously I'm not forcing you to watch this, but if you enjoyed it, let me know. And if you have any ideas for future videos, I am always open to suggestions. Case in point, this video, as well as, yeah, that's about it. Enjoy. Have a wonderful day. Spadoinkle.